Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to I Sell Medicare Plans podcast. This is the podcast where everyone who's in the Medicare space comes to find out what to do and how to do it. This is where you are going to meet people who can really help you to know what to do and how to do it. Of course, I'm Faye and I sell Medicare plans. With me today is a very special guest. Sooner or later, you knew you were going to be with somebody who's been in the industry for 20 plus years. I have with me today Jerome Walker, and we go back to those starting years. Hello, Jerome.
Hello, Faye. How are you?
I am great. I am so excited about this. It's been such a long time since we've even had a moment to say hello.
Absolutely. It's been way too long, I tell you. And I must say, I'm so proud of your podcast. I'm so proud of the fact of what you're doing to help other people in this industry. So kudos to you and your podcast.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It took me a little while to realize that with everything that I've learned over all these years, and you probably feel the same way, you got to share it. You got to be able to help someone else. So, in this business vein, Jerome, I know because I've known you all those years, I know that you started as a sales field representative, the same as I did. You've gone through so many different phases of the career. You've been in corporate, you've been in high level corporate, you've done so many different things. And now the big announcement is you have your very own Walker Insure agency.
Absolutely. You know what? I tell you, it's first thing is first. I have to acknowledge and to give glory to the man above, because without the Lord, I would not be in the position I am right now to have a conversation with you, Faye, and to also have had the tremendous honor and opportunity to change lives over the course of my career. So first and foremost is, again, have to give glory to the Lord. He directs me, and he is the reason why I am the person today. So, but you are absolutely right, Faye. I mean, it's been a whirlwind, over the past 20 plus years. I started my career way back when in Miami. I was just a young buck, compared to where I am now, right? Inexperienced, if you will. And yeah, financial services. Oddly enough, I started with New York Life in Miami, and at the time, it was my second career. A lot of people don't know
Oh,
this, right? I was in wireless technology retail for a long time. Uh,
mm,
a regional director for insurance. It was a excuse me. It was a telephone carrier down in Miami, and represented the whole BJ clubs. And I tell you, it's just a small world when it comes to sales and the migration into where we become. But so I joined New York Life, and I tell you, one of the things that triggered my piqued my interest, if you will, Faye, with New York Life was this thing called residual income or renewal income. It was new to me. I've been in sales since I was 14. That's all I know. And one day I was at one of my locations down in Miami, and this gentleman, he reached out to me, and I was helping him with one of his devices, and he says to me, he said, "Jerome, what are you doing here?" And for a minute, Faye, I'm like, well, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to assist you with what you're doing, right? And he was like, no, he said, I see you at really giving back more. And your skill sets and who you are as a person, I believe that, we're meant for more. So I thought through that, and, I tell you, it really gave me an opportunity to really look at and pursue and think about other things. And that's when I was approached by a training manager with New York Life. And I tell you what, it completely changed my life, Completely.
right. So, Jerome, you started to tell me where you started. So, you've really been in sales since the age of 14. No wonder you have always been such a dynamic salesperson, and you've always been able to help other people to use sales techniques, teach them and train them. In the positions that you had, where actually did you start to build that relationship of helping other agents?
That's a really good ask, Faye. And I think that, when I made a paradigm shift, if you will, from, independent focus on sales for myself to really seeing what I can do to give back. Um, that transition occurred while I was with Humana.
Really?
Absolutely. After leaving New York Life, and because I left New York Life because I realized that I couldn't be the complete agent, Faye, because I worked so hard and I worked so hard for my clients back then that if I wasn't able to take care of whatever their need was, and I needed to refer out, then there was some anxiety there for me because I needed to trust someone else to take care of my people as well as I take care of my people, right?
Mhm.
So I wasn't able to be the complete broker, the complete agent, if you will, with New York Life. So then I joined Humana. That's what brought me up to Orlando. I joined Humana because not only could I do the life sales and everything else, I was also able to, do this whole new thing called Medicare. What is that, right? I didn't know what that was.
Right.
Medicare, right? Medicare Advantage, MedSup. What is this stuff, right? And I tell you, because of my background in life, I was able to really help. And this is where it all began, is in Orlando with Humana, because I was able to help some of the other brokers, some of the other agents, and in fact, I would go and I would help present seminars with, Memorial Fund was the product, which of course is a final expense product or long-term care. I would
Right.
go
I
and
remember those days.
right. So what was great was that, a lot of times they would say, well, Jerome, I'll split commission with you. And I didn't look at it that way. I'm like, no, I'm here to help you. Nowadays everyone's looking for something for helping someone, right? Well, I'm of that thread, whereas I believe that if we help other people, then we're going to be taken care of. But if we do that selflessly,
Oh,
then
yes.
that's where it all started for me, Faye, is, I love the fact where I was able to help some of my other agents there, especially the less experienced agents, and, then see them go from not being able to present a plan to writing all of this business. That's what really, made me happy, and it gave me joy. And at that particular time. So,
That really does something to you inside when you actually are able to help somebody and then they really are committed to doing what you asked of them or show or tell them to do, and it pays off for them. It really, there's that feeling inside. There's no other feeling than to have that feeling of knowing that you have really, really helped someone else with what you know. So now, as you move through your career and then advance to corporate, eventually you evolved from captive to independent.
mhm.
What 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 actually what was the reason for that? How did you come about that?
Again, that's another great ask, Faye. And I think it was more of a natural progression, if you will, right? So you go from you have the corporate, you're captive, as you mentioned, right? In corporate and that. So I mean, because again, with me, I was an agent, right? Went from agent to manager, from manager to director, from director to corporate, right? And there was some people say director is corporate, so it depends on how you look at that. So, but for me, it was an easy transition for me because I look at learning as being the cornerstone of who you are and your ability to help other people. So the more you learn, the more you can gather, then the more you can share and you can help other people, right? Because I believe that I was put on this planet to help people, period. Not to be a billionaire, gazillionaire, or all these other things, but I truly believe I'm here to help other people. So the things and the learnings that I try to acquire, it's for me to have an understanding of whatever it is. But honestly, Faye, it's for me to be able to articulate that and help other people, right? So as I went through my careers, as you mentioned, from agent to a manager to director to national director with different companies, with Humana, and then over with Centene, Allwell, and so forth, and WellCare. Um, it's just the desire to see people succeed. Now, a couple other things about me during the course of my years in development, like with Radio Shack, I was a store manager with Radio Shack way back when, but I was a corporate trainer for them. So, I mean, not only did I hold these positions, whereas, I'm a leadership position, but I love to train, went through Toastmasters and all these other things that help me with presenting and, situational leadership. There's so many things out there that actually help me over the years. And I learned and developed a lot of those things through Humana. They had a pretty robust leadership program, and I've took some tidbits from them, tidbits from New York Live, tidbits from Radio Shack, tidbits from wireless carriers, and my own experiences over the years that has helped me to help all other people throughout the decades to be successful.
So one of the things that it sounds like has happened through all of those transitions, each transition was a step forward. So you were not only moving forward, but you were moving upward. And as you moved upward, you were like the what they call the rolling, where you just kept rolling, but as you rolled, you picked up more and more
Absolutely.
as you were going along. So as you got further up, you knew more because you were gathering more and more information. And all of this, you have successfully been able to put together to bring back to your own enterprise.
Absolutely.
How
Correct.
does that really make you feel right now?
Oh my gosh. Again, just going back, is all about just having faith, right? And just really trusting in, and knowing that you're doing the right thing. And I tell you, there's no better feeling, Faye, and I'm sure you can relate to this because you're the same way. You love giving back, you love training people and helping people, hence your podcast. Um, there's no better feeling. People who maybe have not lived in my shoes or, took a similar path that I have, yeah, you can sell. I mean, believe me, I can go out and just sell and sell and sell and not worry about anything else. And I'll be a millionaire. I make all this money. I do everything I can, but I don't believe that's me. Right. But when you show someone, I give you another example, Faye, it's a little bit different than Medicare. It's other business that we do is real estate, for example, right? And I always refer and equate things to real estate because home ownership is a dream for a lot of people, right? It's one of those things where, oh, I want to own my home. Oh, but can I really? Do I not make enough money? What are my ratios? What are ratios? What does that mean anyway, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you take someone that feels as though they cannot afford a home all the way and you see them through the whole process to at the closing table, they're just blown away that they're walking away, they have a new home, right? It's the same thing with
Mm-hmm.
Medicare Advantage, right? When I was an agent, Faye, and I should train other agents the same thing. This is before I got into leadership, before I got into corporate, right? My thing was, I always thought to myself, Faye, is that I have the power. I have the power to change people's lives in my briefcase. How many professionals
Yes.
can you say that, right? I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
you meet with someone, like literally before you met with them, they didn't know how they can afford their medication. They didn't know what they would do for, just normal living things that we take for granted, right? You look at Maslow, right? His hierarchy of needs.
Right.
You look
Right.
at the first two, it's like security and food and that.
Mm-hmm.
We take those things for granted and we automatically go to the third level, which is belonging. But what about those bottom two, the core things
Yes.
that people need, right? So what we do for a living is so rewarding because you allow people to really live up to those two level one and level two and satisfy those needs and then move forward. Because obviously we all want to get to the top level of self-actualization, right? But what does that look like? What does that mean? So I love the fact that I've had the opportunity, I've been blessed to have the opportunity to really help people with those first three levels, to allow them to get to the other top two levels and be able to pay it forward. So
Now, and you're helping because now you're at that point where you have your own agency.
yes,
You are helping both. Am I correct? You're helping both the consumer and the professional?
yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
the whole idea of me forming Walker Insure Advisors is, and it's going to sound really crazy because capitalism and where we are today in the U.S. It's not money driven for me. I'm gonna say that again, right? It's not.
Yes, say that. Will you say that again,
I know
please?
it's so crazy. It's a novel concept, right? It's not money driven. What's driven with me and my agency, the reason why I formed the agency is I can't tell you, Faye, how many times, especially here in the past year, brokers have come to me and they say to me, Faye, they say, Jerome, I feel like I don't matter with my upline. I feel like I don't have a voice. There's
Oh,
no training. There's no how can I
mm.
get better? I just feel like I'm just making phone calls. I'm not part of a team. I'm not part of the family. And then there's more and more and more. So when I had an opportunity, when I left WellCare, Centene WellCare, I had it was a fork in the road. It was a pivotal point for me, honestly. I could have gone back into the whole corporate, as you mentioned, the whole corporate realm, and other organizations were reaching out to me. Hey, Jerome, we can give you this and that. I said, or I can make a difference, Faye. I can truly make a difference in the lives of people out there. Not making the rich or rich, talking about the insurance companies and everything else. And you're still going to work with them and everything else. But it's like I can truly, when I leave this earth, I can truly say on that at that time that I've given back to the world and I've been able to help the world, right? And help people within the world. So, and in fact, my personal tagline for my organization is called "Helping the World or the Community One Person at a Time,"
Oh,
and
that's great. And
that's what
the good thing about that, I love that you have come to this point in your career, and I know that you are successful. You will be even more successful. But you think along the lines that I do because I hear it all the time too. There are people who will send me a DM or a message that I just don't feel like I'm getting what I need. I just started, I'm lost, or this is my first AEP, or this is my second AEP, and I don't know what I'm doing. And it makes me feel so sad. You and I were both products of that real good basic training so that we have that we can share with others. But a lot of people are not. And when I think about it, Jerome, think about statistics say 8% of the insurance professionals will stay in this business and
mm,
succeed. Only 8%.
mm. I think it's
So
lower
that
than
means not maybe 92% of them will not.
that. Right.
So that 92%, however, is such a huge number. There are so many people out there. My thought is that if people like you and I can just increase that 8% to 10%, if we could add another 2% of people who are successful and know what they're doing, feel confident in what they're doing, then I personally will feel like I have really accomplished something. And I agree when you said it, say it again, it's not about the money. It's, you really can help someone else. Now, I'm going to ask you, and this will be our last question for today. And for the audience, I'd like for you to know that this is not the last time that you will see Jerome. We're doing a series so that you are not able to know what it takes and how it all starts, but you're also going to hear through the series how you can do better. and how you can be successful. And what are some of those things that Jerome has personally done that you may be able to implement? But my last question to you is, what would you say to someone who is either considering the insurance business, and I say insurance business, it doesn't have to be Medicare, um, considering the insurance business, or someone who has just come into the insurance business and feels like they don't, what thoughts would you leave with them?
Right. It's a really good ask. And I think number one for me is you have to go into this industry with the right partner or partners. I think for me, that's number one. Now you mentioned that there's a 92% fill rate, right, in this industry. And honestly, I think it's even higher than that. I think maybe I would say 95, 96, 97% of people that enter this industry, they have false expectations. And especially nowadays when you think about society and everything is all about get rich quick, is all about self, is all about, okay, what can I do to make money for me? And I think that's a wrong approach. So I think the first thing is to answer your question is if you're considering getting into this industry, you need to understand or ask yourself, what are your reasons for getting into the industry? Right. I mean, if you just thinking you're just fully money motivated, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people, you need to make money. You need to make money to live. You need to support your family and everything else. But if your true reason for getting into our industry is just you want to make a quick buck, then you may need to reevaluate that. Okay. Because our industry, we need people that care about our seniors. We need people that care about our beneficiaries. We need people that care about the insured, right? Because at the end of the day, it should never, ever be about us. And I think that's another reason why we have all of these rules and regulations. I'll use Medicare, for example, is because there are so many unscrupulous people out there that they do things and say things that require people like you and I, Faye, that do what we need to be doing to help people and make it much more difficult for us. So I think the first thing is you need to ask yourself why you're doing it, right? And if those reasons are pure and you really want to make a difference in people's lives, then the next thing is that who is your partner? Who are you going into this with? So sometimes people, Faye, people, they think, okay, I'm being independent, which you can be an independent, completely independent, and have an upline and go directly with a carrier. The only thing is that I don't recommend that. Is because if you do that, where's your support? Right? Where's your training? A lot of times these carriers, and you go to different markets. Now, some markets are a little bit better than other markets. Other markets, I mean, some markets you go to, you're direct. They have a great training program for independent brokers. Certain carriers have a great, but overall, I think that you're going to lose a lot. And I think those people that go in as an independent, you may end up leaving the industry a lot sooner, a lot quicker than someone that goes in with a partner. So I would recommend you find an upline that you trust, I'm going to say that one more time. One that you trust, and the one that's going to help you with your goals, not their goals, but with your goals. It's a difference.
That's the key point right there, Jerome. The partner, look for the business partner who cares about your goals. Don't make it their goal, because if someone brings you on board and they're only concerned about their goals, you're not going to learn very much, and you're only going to be told those things that are going to help the upline's goal. So yes, you need to find a business partner. I would agree. At some point, you probably have some questions that people can ask of you. And if you'd like, we can leave our podcast comments open so that people can address questions. Because as I've said, listeners and viewers, we will be doing a series. And when Jerome's on again, he'll be able to answer those questions for you.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about the journey? Because today we wanted to find out, where did you start and where you are now and why you're there.
I would say, it's a very rewarding industry. It truly is, Faye. I mean, obviously, we've both been in it for a long time. And I think for me is that if you have the true heart for our industry, if you truly want to help people out there are so many people out there that truly want and need our help. And then there are also, unfortunately, in our industry, there are some people out there that really can care less about our help. So I think that if you are looking to jump into this industry, aside from the things that we just discussed, I also think that you need to understand that it's not a walk in the park. It's not one of those industries where, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and my first AEP, I'm going to make $1 million and then that's it. I'm just going to walk away, which it can happen based on the market and where you are. You may have a great opportunity and good for you. Hopefully that you made a difference in those communities that you've sold in. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about not about them, Faye, right? It should be all
Right.
about what they can do for other people, what they can do
Mm-hmm.
to help other people and get people to where they need to be. And I'm a firm believer that, and I mentioned this earlier, that if you help people, people are going to help you.
I will
So
help you. It
absolutely,
works.
absolutely
It
works.
works. It
Yeah,
definitely works. Thank you so much for being my guest today here on I Sell Medicare Plans. Listen for our upcoming series of podcast interviews with Jerome Walker, a Walker Insure Advisors LLC. This is Faye, and I Sell Medicare Plans.
awesome.